Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 137. It is Wednesday morning, and we do what we always do on Wednesday, and that is an overnight. So today's going to be a long day. It's going to be about a day and a quarter, a day and a half long. No sleep, maybe a nap here and there. And I'm trying to be better about getting the proper nutrition and the proper sleep and being rested and all that before I go, and also while I'm on my trip, and just trying to do all the right things so I'm in the right frame of mind and I have enough energy to do the things that I want to do the right way. So last night, a lot of the family, my wife and I and 3 of the kids went to a Korean hot pot place. And if you're not familiar, it's a place where you can grill vegetables or vegetables or meat, or you can use what they have. It's like a hot pot where it's like a stovetop, and you have a pot. They put some soup or some kind of broth in there, miso soup or whatever. I like spicier stuff, so I got like a Szechuan hot something in mine. And then you pick different kinds of meat and seafood and vegetables, and you put it in the pot to cook. And some things like the meat is cut very thin, so when you put it in the hot pot, within 30 seconds or a minute at the most, it would be already cooked, and you could just dip stuff in there and cook it and put noodles in there if you want, or whatever you want. And I was a little bit worried that the kids wouldn't like it. My wife and I had been before, but none of the kids had come. But I was surprised that they kind of did like it. One of the girls didn't like it because she's just not the biggest eater in the world, and she had just made herself some mac and cheese before we left. But it was like $32 a person, I believe, and unfortunately they put the 18% tip on right away, which means that your service is not going to be great, because why should they care about service? So we got some ribeye and other meats and pork and chicken and vegetables and all that stuff, and we had a pretty decent time there. But I kept turning down my pot because it was so hot, and I was overheating personally, because everything I was eating was very hot, not to mention very spicy. And I got to the point where I was just sweating profusely, and I just had to get out of there. So when my youngest went to the car first, I decided to go with them, and it was really good. My youngest had just had a sleepover with a friend and hadn't slept till after midnight, so he was falling asleep at the table. My daughter kind of wasn't that interested in it because she was already full, but we brought another boy with us, and he just became a teenager recently, and he loved it. He loved it. He was putting cabbage in there and potatoes and corn and all kinds of meat, and really liked it. That really surprised me, but it was a good time. We got out after work, and it was a lot of fun. We got home around 7, 8, probably 8:30, and I sat in my chair for a little while and relaxed for a little bit, then went and laid in bed and was asleep by about 10:30 or so. Got up this morning. I actually got up before 6, but got out of bed after 6, got a shower, got ready to go, and I am on the road now. So today's plan in this area, we're probably going to have 8 different stops by the time midnight hits. and some of them will be the same casino, because we'll go in kind of like a loop, 5 or 6 casinos, and try to hit a few of them a few times. And then for tomorrow morning, early in the morning after midnight, I'm not positive which way I'm going to go with it yet. I'm finding that between like 2 and 6 a.m. it's really hard to find somewhere to play, because the same shift is still on everywhere, and the nearest casinos, other than the ones within an hour and a half or so, are pretty far away. So sleeping might be the best thing, but I'm going to try to figure out some kind of a strategy. Only, I'd say, half the casinos are not going to even have blackjack at that time of day, so I'll have to figure it out. But we're on the road. Temperature is 73 degrees, which I thought it would be a little bit cooler with all that rain we had last night, but it's a nice day, mostly cloudy skies, and I'll be back to update you soon. Alright guys, just leaving this casino. It looks pretty quiet when I got in there and started looking at machines, and was blocked all along the way. Let me kind of explain. I look at the first machine, no problem. Second set of machines, no problem really. And then I go on to the next group of machines, and there are 2 workers, one slot worker and one like a cleaning person, talking right by the machines that I want to check. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 machines I can't get to because they're standing there, and I don't want to check them in front of them. So I check the ones that are out of sight that they can't see. I go around, look at some other stuff, come around, check one more that they can't see. And then I'm like, okay, I'll just come back. I go check some other stuff, play a few things. In fact, the second machine I played actually was a big one. It was a $5 a spin, and I got killed on that one, lost a couple hundred on that one. And then looked around some more, couldn't find anything. Go into the back reaches of the casino, find a short play, gives me like $50 or $60. A couple other small plays, 20 here, 30 there. And then there's another set of machines I can't check because there's another slot person with another cleaning person in the back of the casino talking. So I don't know if they just got on for their shift and they're just hanging out, or they're taking a break, or lazy. I have no idea, but I'm like, you guys are blocking my money here. So I go to check the final things. I come back around and I end up checking in front of them anyway, those last 2, and I actually found a play which gave me like $30 in one spin. And then go back around to the front again, and those guys were finally gone. I found a couple more plays there. One gave me like 150 and another 50, stuff like that. So there were actually plays there that I couldn't really get to, and I'm glad I came back around and got there before someone else did. So long story short, I started my first play down, I'm thinking around 225 or 250, I don't remember exactly. And then by the time I finished, 25 minutes later, I ended up leaving ahead 136, so plus $136. And right now we're moving on to another casino. Today seems like it's going to be a cool day. It's only 75 degrees right now. It's still early, but it doesn't look like it's going to warm up. More clouds have rolled in, and it looks like it could rain. So I'm okay with that. Keep the temperature down, and I'm good with all that. So, all right now we're moving on to the next location, about another half hour away, and then I'll come back and update you. All right, real quick. The next section, I'm going to give you some numbers. They were wrong. I said 4 million. It's actually 400,000. Not 4 million, 400,000. I know how to do math, but I don't know what I thought there for a second. All right, guys, I am back on this very rainy day. 68 degrees outside now. Just nasty outside. Very little traffic, so that's one good thing, but other than that, not very nice out. I think pretty much everywhere I'm going to go today, I'll be able Most places I'll be able to park in a parking garage, so should be okay. So I go into this place and look at slots, and I find one play on a machine that I rarely find plays on, and sat down and played that one through, and it just took forever and was sucking money, and finally when it paid out, it was $2 a spin. I only ended up ahead $45 on that one, and that was the only slot play that I had. Played blackjack, spreading from one hand at $50 to one hand at $500, and just the whole time was, the first shoe was just terrible. I got to a point where I was one hand away from being even. I had a positive count. It was looking good. I lost 12 in a row. 12. Just to give you an idea, if you can just double your money, if you win 12 hands in a row, you can go from $100 to $4 million. That's how much 12 in a row is. So losing 12 in a row is not fun. Anyway, then I had a couple shoes with positive counts that were really good. Started getting into the really high counts, and it started early in the shoe and continued on all the way through. One shoe just punished me, and as I was raising, I was losing more and more and more. And at my low point, I was involved for about 3,000. I was down as much as 2,700, and then I had the shoe where the count from the first hand just started going up. By the second or third hand, I was at like a true 1, then true 2, and then it continued on and on and on, and I got to a true 5 or 6 by the end of it. And I'd say the last 10 or 12 hands that I bet were all max bet, $500, and even with all that, I only ended up ahead exactly 500 by the end of the shoe. It was just devastating, because what can I do? Now 2 shoes in a row, I've gone from 50 to 500 by the end of the shoe and reset back down to 50. Actually, I reset to 100 just to not go all the way down. But so I ended up leaving ahead 500 on the blackjack, 45 on the slots. And then there was a guy behind me watching me the last few minutes, and he's telling me how he's getting killed on the roulette and he only has 1,000 left. And I'm like, yeah, that's a streaky game, it could go either way. I said, sometimes I feel like you should just go in, play one big hand, and get out, because the longer you play, the more they eat at you and take your money away. And he's like, well, then why do you gamble? I said, why do you gamble? And he smiled. And then the waitress came over and talked to us for a few minutes, because a lot of the places I go now, the waitresses know that I'm not going to get anything to drink unless I'm done playing. So she came over, talked to us for a few minutes, and then I had a decision to make. Well, I couldn't cash out all my chips no matter what, because this is a lower threshold place. So I was leaving with chips no matter what. But I decided to leave with a few thousand in chips for a reason, and that is I may be back later today, and I don't want to get into any kind of CTR trouble. And honestly, I was a little scared today when I came in, because last time I was here, I played early. I was in for about 500 early, and then I came back a couple times and rebought. And when I finally figured it up in the car, I'd actually bought in for a total of 10,400, which I suspected that at the table, but since they were different shifts and I took the risk. It didn't work out anyway, so I was in like 10-4, not including slots. So I was worried that they were going to say something when I came back in this time, but they did not. So actually, when I got to the table, the pit boss immediately got on the phone, and the dealer was like, huh, that's weird. And I'm like, well, that's not what I want to hear when I'm worried that they're going to try to CTR me. And I said, what's that about? He said, I don't know. He usually doesn't call them. So I'm like, okay, well, hopefully everything's cool, because I'm sitting down to play. And when I first sat down, I bought in for 500. I'm like, with him on the phone, I'm like, is he going to approve it or he's going to say hold it? Because lots of times when you get to CTR level, they'll let the money sit at the table. They won't give the money back to you, and they won't give you chips. They'll just let it sit there and say, you've got to give us your ID. And if you don't, then they just hold it there. Technically, they're supposed to give it back to you, but they try to hold it hostage on you. So, that's just one of the underhanded things that they do to try to get your identity. Anyway, moving on to the next casino, and I'll be back to update you soon. Oh, one thing I forgot. The one guy that was standing behind me that I was talking to, he's like, I had a $500. I lost, actually, 2 $500 double downs back to back, and that was just terrible. So that's a $4,000 swing. And he's like, man, I was going to go in on you on that double down. I'm like, glad you didn't, I'm sure now. But yeah, that was like 2 big losses back to back. You hate to see that, but anyway, I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back, just walking around this casino looking for some plays. I did walk in and played a little bit of slots initially, and I'm ahead a little bit on slots, maybe like 100 or so, but still walking around looking for other stuff. I went and played blackjack for a little while on a $50 table, spreading from 50 to 250, and I sit down, and both the dealer on my table and the dealer on the other table are like, oh, hey, how's it going? I'm like, I hardly remember these people, but I don't know how some of these people remember the same customers, but they're like, oh yeah, last time you were here, you lost like 2,000. I'm like, yeah, I had to keep running to the ATM back and forth, which of course I don't do that, but just go with the story. You talk about how bad you're always doing, and then they agree with you, and everybody wants to feel like they're right. And so anyway, I sat back there for about 40 minutes or so, and initially pretty flat, and then had an upswing at the end of one shoe, and ended, man, I should know this, was I up 500? I was up 700, I believe. Yeah, ended the session ahead 700, so that was good. Now I'm back to looking for slot plays. So the low for the session was only like minus 300, and the high was the plus 700, but I'm going to look at some slot plays, and then I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I'm out of there, so just got back to the car, and interestingly, lots of times you see parking garages with floors closed, with like levels closed, because they're cleaning them, so they'll be power washing or whatever. This one, however, they are power washing the garage around the cars. Now, is that insane or what? You have a 3,000 or 4,000 whatever PSI power washer, and you've got it near people's paint on their car? These guys are crazy. But anyway, I wanted to mention that when I was playing blackjack, the pit boss said, can I have your card? And I said, no, I don't have one. And he said, oh, you've got one. I know you've got one. One of these days, you're going to give it to me. And I said, well, why would I use a card? And he said, well, don't you want to get free stuff? And I said, well, that's how they get you. They get you in for the free stuff, and then you end up spending all your money. He goes, well, that is true. I said, that's why I don't use a card. So that worked out pretty good. And then I did play some slots, didn't find much, and ended the session ahead 166 on the slots. I'm sure you heard the last segment. If it wasn't too loud, that I ended up ahead 700 on the blackjack. Right now I'm in the car. It's a little early for the next place on my list. I'm going to try to make a decision as to what to do. I think I'm going to go there, look at slots first, and then see if the blackjack area is open or not, and decide what to do. Yeah, I'm going to need some gas in the next few hours here, so I'll be able to go into this place and maybe one more, and then need to get gas again today. So alright, gonna let you go right now, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I'm back. I was actually, while I was in there, I thought about the last casino I was in. I was at a machine. I had already checked it. I had already checked all of them, and I was sitting down on my phone, and this guy comes around checking the machines, and he goes, it's what did he say? Something like, "I love this machine, don't you?" I said, "It's okay." And he goes, "I just can't quit playing it though." And I'm thinking, get the heck out of here. I just saw you check all the levels and then leave. What are you talking about? So I thought that was a little bit funny. Now, I'm on a ramp here trying to get out, and the person in front of me has stopped looking at their phone. There we go. Oh my gosh, let's go, lady. Anyway, I go to play some blackjack, and there's only one table open. I don't know if you can hear this rain, but there's only one table open. So I go, well, as soon as I walk back there, the pit boss is kind of like a friend of mine. So he's making a phone call. He's like, "I'll open another table for you." I'm like, no, that's okay. I can wait. And I said something like, I've been losing lately anyway. Maybe it's better if I don't play. And he chuckles, and we talk for a minute, and I leave. I go check some slot machines and play 3 machines, I believe. And then came back, and it was still occupied. But then they had opened a second table. But I realized that the guy's money was still there. So he had 4 stacks of, I think, 1,000 each stack, and he had his cell phone and his hat there. And I said something like, "Oh, I see he's still coming back." And the pit boss said he'll be here all day. He'll leave his stuff here, his cell phone, everything here, and walk away and go back and forth all day long. So this is a reserved table just for him. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I go look at the other table, and they had just started a shoe. So I left, and I came back, and then I finally played. Somewhere in there, I had a slice of pizza also. So came back, and the guy was gone. That was at the other table. So I sat down there, started a new shoe, and had a decent shoe all the way through, and ended up leaving ahead $600. So plus $600 there. And I noticed that while I was walking around, I noticed that a group of slot machines, like a whole area of slot machines, was being changed out, including some advantage possibilities. So that's not good, but what am I going to do? So I ended up ahead 600 on the blackjack, and I had 163 on the slots. And we're going to move on. Right now, I think I want to head back to another casino that I visited earlier, and then I'm going to visit a second one for the second time, and then I'll probably go to another town. So that's what I'm thinking right now. I'm supposed to make a phone call at 2 o'clock to someone. Also, we might be working on some sports stuff today as well, so we'll see what happens with that. So for now, I'm going to let you go. Moving in the right direction here, slowly but surely, and hopefully the rain stops, but temperature is good, 65 degrees, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I'm back. So went to the next place. I had chips in my pocket. I was just playing those, and started with a $500 chip, playing a $50 table, spreading from $50 to $250, and sit down, start playing. Not going great. I mean, I'm about even, but negative the whole way through. So then a guy comes up to the table, and he's with his son or grandson or something like that, and he starts playing, and I welcome him to the table because I'm like -9 or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, come on. And he sits down and starts playing. He's got some crazy luck up and down. Just everything he's doing is wrong. And I think he actually had a vision problem also. So he ended up leaving the table down like 200. But by then I was at a new shoe, and things were going okay again. Then they started going bad again, back negative. And right then another guy comes to the table, and I'm like, come on, -6. And so he sits down and starts playing, and he's not doing well either, but I have some positive stuff happen for me. He eats all the negatives. We end up on the positive side and finish out the shoe ahead 525. So plus 525 there. And then before that, I had played a few slots. Really, I think I found one play for like 80 cents and played that through, and that was it. And I ended up ahead $3 on that. So plus 525 on the blackjack, plus 3 on the slots. And I couldn't cash out any chips. Now I have more chips, which is fine. But the shift doesn't change for about another hour for the cashiers. So we're gonna just do our thing, and whenever we get a chance to cash it, we'll cash it. So for now, I'm gonna let you go, and then I'll be back to update you next. All right, guys, back in the car here. One thing I forgot to tell you about was, while I was sitting at that blackjack table, the dealer had to go to break. So this other dealer comes to the table, and it's a black lady, and we're talking, and she's using, the little stopper thing. I should find out what that thing is called that they use to shove down the money into the hole there. She's using that to scratch her nose, and I'm like, you all right? And she's like, oh, I got a mosquito bite. I'm like, okay. I said, well, that's probably because you got thin skin. Mosquitoes don't like me. I got real thick skin. And she goes, not any thicker than mine. I said, oh, you mean because you work in a casino, you have to have thick skin? She goes, no, it's that melon skin. I'm like, I can't believe you just said that. So, okay, it's that melon skin. And then they're giving something away. I don't want to tell you what it is, but they're giving something away. And then this guy walks by who's a different race, and he's carrying one of these things. And it was like another racist thing, you could say, like lined up, And we both looked at each other. I said, don't even say it. And we both knew what we were talking about. But yeah, I ended up with 525 more in chips from there. And I'm leaving the parking garage, and I don't know why, because I don't know where I'm going next. I've hit all the casinos on this shift within an hour area here. I can move on to another area, but it's a lot of miles to go on to the next place here. Let me think about this here for a minute, and I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. I'm on a 120-mile trip right now to the next casino. And about, 30 miles into my trip, I get a message that says low tire pressure. Normally, I would say, who cares? I'll check it out tonight. I'll check it out tomorrow, whatever. I pull over. There's one gas station there, and I can't turn into it because there's no U-turn. There's a median, so I turn left, and I turn again, and I turn in a parking lot, and I come back out, and I go to this gas station, and I see the tire is low. The back passenger tire is low. So I park my car, and I don't see an air hose anywhere. So I go. They have a garage there that says we do tires and brakes and all this stuff. So I walk in. I talk to the cashier. I say, hey man, can I just get some air for my tire? I got low pressure. He says, yeah, you go out there and there's a hose. So I go out there, and there was a place, and it's like a couple bucks. So I said, okay. And then I notice I take all the caps off all the tires so I could do it quickly, because you only get like 2 minutes of air, which I lost one, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I go to take all the caps off, and I notice that tire is much lower now. I'm like, oh man, this is awful. So I lock the car up. I leave it where it is. I go into where the garage area is, and I say, hey man, I think I got a hole in my tire. can you patch it? And he doesn't speak English. No, we're not open. I'm like, what do you mean you're not open? You got two guys sitting in here and there's cars in here. I said, I just need a patch for my tire. Can you do it? And he's like, oh, you need a plug? I said, yeah, a plug would be fine. And he's like, okay, bring it around. So I said, well, the tire is flat. Do you want me to take it off and bring it over? He's like, no, just pay the money and put air in the tire, then come over. I said, okay. I put a couple dollars and quarters in the machine, and it's not really going up much. So I drive the car around and into the garage area, and he puts it up about a foot or so, and he's looking at it, and I notice that the inside of the tire is like down to the metal. And I'd been noticing some noise, and you might notice that my car is a lot quieter now. I'd been noticing some noise between and I think I had mentioned it, between like 40 and 60 miles an hour. And then it became between like 50 and 70. And then it was any highway speeds at all that I would hear it. Well, that was probably the metal rubbing against the highway. So, and I thought I'd replaced all 4 tires, but maybe I did 3 that day. I think I may have done 3 because they only had 3. So I did those, and I was supposed to come back for the 4th. So anyway, I don't remember. Anyway, that tire needs to be replaced. So I said, well, since you have it up, do you mind just putting the spare on for me? He's like, no problem. We do it for you. We help each other. I said, okay, we help each other. So we open up the trunk, and it's a full-size spare, which is awesome. And so he puts it on. And I ask him about money, and he's acting like he doesn't want anything. And I'm like, it's all right. I give you something, for your time. And, of course, I've got, like, $24,000 on me right now. My pockets are, like, bulging, right? And I reach in my pocket, and I pull out a little sliver of money that I know is on the inside of my pocket where the small bills are. I figured I'm going to give the guy 10 or 20 bucks just for his time. And I pull out $12. And I go to hand him the $12, and he goes, that's all you have? And I said, yeah, if you need more, we can put it on a credit card. Oh, it's okay, we help each other. I'm like, you went from not wanting any money to saying, is that all you have? So he put the full-size spare on there, and I'm good. So right now I'm driving. I'm probably going to go another 50 miles or 75 miles and see where we're at, because I don't think this tire pressure thing, I guess it should reset itself, but with a spare, even though it's a full-size spare, I noticed that it's a harder tire. It's like 60 psi instead of 35 psi in this tire. So we're just going to drive a little while and see. The car's not shaking at all. It's way quieter, you might notice. Why didn't you guys tell me my car was loud? Son of a... Anyway. So I think I'm good. So I'm going to continue on here. I'm not too worried right now. But what I do need to do is when I get home, I need to take it in and have it looked at and make sure all 4 tires are replaced. We'll get that last one replaced, and if another one needs it, we'll do that, I guess. But I thought I had it covered. So right now, we're moving on. A nice little adventure. And I'm so glad the exit was like half a mile away when that light came on, because I'm looking right now and I don't see an exit here forever. So I mean, let me see, let me look on this map here. Yeah, I mean, in like 5 miles there's an exit. So I don't know if I would have made it. Then I would have had to call AAA, wait for a darn tow truck to get here. Would have taken forever. 12 bucks for that time is definitely worth it. So all right, moving on, and I'll be back. All right, guys, just got off on the exit here for the casino, waiting at the light, and our goal is going to be in and out of here in 2 to 3 hours, and I'd love to make between $800 and $1,000. That would be the goal. So I'm going to do whatever it takes, anything positive EV, even if it's a little bit riskier than normal. Variance is not an issue right now. Right now we're chasing EV, so I'm going to go into this casino and I'll be back to update you. But car is running fine, no problem, and I think we should be good. I'm thinking about adding another casino, actually. Everything from here on is added. This was not expected, but there's another casino about an hour away I want to add, and then another one 2 more hours away, and then from there it could go a lot of different ways. So right now we're going to go in here, and then when we get a minute, we're going to look at the map and decide what to do next. Alright guys, I am back. Oh man, I didn't realize that I had a meeting in town where I live tonight, and I'm missing it. So I just gave the excuse that I had a flat tire and I was fixing it and couldn't be there. So it's really unfortunate, but nothing I can do. I am 6 hours away from home right now, about to be 7.5 hours away from home. So that's not going to happen. So anyway, it didn't turn out the way I wanted. I did see a machine that I thought I understood, but I didn't, and because of that, I lost $400 on that. And then, other than that, things went pretty decently overall. I played a little bit of blackjack. They're very sweaty here, so you got to be really careful. I ended up making $400 on a double deck game, just betting low and having a small spread. And then as far as slots overall, I ended the session down $223 due to that $400 mix-up. So unfortunately for that as well. So, did make a little bit of money, but not much, and I'm moving on to another casino now, and that one does not have as much opportunity as this one, but hopefully we can still make some money there. So, I'm going to let you go right now, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. It was a bad decision to come to this place. It only added an hour to my trip, but just don't have the game variety that we want. Was not able to play any blackjack at all because they had these terrible versions of it. They only had one version that was any good. It was a $50 table, and there was already 3 hands being played, so there was no way I was going to sit down at that table. So overall, big waste of time, and I did have a few ups and downs on the machines and ended the session ahead $18, and that was it, $18. So unfortunately, not much I can do about it, but we took a shot. I was able to add one casino to my trip for an hour. I thought it would make sense, but here we are, live and learn. So right now I'm going to move on to another spot, and I'm actually going to run across the street here real quick and get something from the gas station, and then we'll decide what to do. I have a pretty good idea of the rest of the night, but I'll be back with you. Alright guys, I'm back. I'm still on my drive to the next casino. I just wanted to kind of catch up on things with you. As you can hear, the car is a lot quieter. Everything is good. I got some vegetables, got some fruit, got some snacks, pretzels, things like that. So I'm good for my drive. Like I said, I still have a couple hours to go. And I think by the time I get there, it's going to be just about midnight. So what I'll probably do is just end this episode and start a new episode for the new day. And we'll catch up with each other on the other side. I can tell you, so far today, I have walked 14,722 steps. So quite a bit, but the sun is down right now, and I'm continuing on to the next casino, and we'll start a new episode. If you have any questions or comments, the email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.